Let's drift along Sharpless 313 with its two white dwarfs making a bow shock through its oxygen lake. Welcome to SETI Astro. This is a very dim nebula. It's in the very southern part of the sky for me. It only got above 35 degrees at its highest in the sky, and I had my neighbors roof to contend with. As you can see, this was my setup going into one of the evenings. It just barely gets above his roof over there throughout the night. I took about 40 hours of exposure on this, 18 of which was in hydrogen. Here's the hydrogen. It's not very bright, but it is well defined. Removing the stars and stretching, you could really see the structure within the nebula itself. Oxygen then was dimmer still, but you could start to see that there is a very interesting structure right there in the middle. And then removing the stars and stretching it, you could really see this bow shock in the center of the nebula itself. And when you put the stars back in, you can see that it's the central star either moving through the gases causing this wake, or the gases moving across the central star causing the wake. Either way, it is one of the rare situations in which you can see the movement of a stellar object out there. You could even see it kind of like curls back in behind the star as it's moving through it. And it's just amazing that you can see this kind of movement in what normally is very static. Every time you're looking at the sky, it's very static. Sulfur was by far the dimmest, even though I had 48 15-minute exposures. That little dim wisp in the middle is all you're able to get. Even removing the stars and really giving it a hard stretch, you could see where the structure is in the sulfur. It's just not a whole lot. Now, I did try two different combination styles. I did a hydrogen-oxygen 4x palette just to see what that would look like. I also did a hydrogen-sulfur 4x palette. Definitely has a different look with the sulfur highlighted over there on the limb. Doing a full SHO 4x palette looked too saturated to me. It just had a unpleasant bullseye of colors in my mind. So what I ended up doing is taking the hydrogen sulfur and hydrogen oxygen 4x palettes and combining them into its own unique palette to kind of bring out the features of both. And that's where I ended up here with Sharpless 313, the central bow shock in blue as the stars are moving through it, and the structure around it. There's even what looks to be a little blue or magenta off on the right limb. That's actually the sulfur peeking through. So that was cool to see as well. For the stars themselves, I will give a shout out to my own script, the narrowband to RGB star script that I have. It just produces really good stars, and I'm glad I got it out there to the community. And finally doing the combination with the stars again. There's that central star just moving on through the nebula. Now looking at the annotated version, we do see a couple items of interest. One of which is there's actually a little galaxy peeking through the nebula there, which I really like. Just off to the right of it is a peculiar star. There's a huge number of galaxies in the far background. There's nothing with a lot of good structure, but they are quite well-defined points of light in the image. So that's good to see too. There wasn't a whole lot of ones that were too dim to be picked up. And we even have a carbon star over here, HE1251, gracing us in the frame. Carbon stars are rare in the sky. They're stars in the carbon burning phase of their lifespan, which only lasts about 100 years, and there is hints that Betelgeuse right now has entered its carbon burning phase. So if that's ever confirmed, we may be able to call that a carbon star too up there in Orion. I have updated Stromgren with my wake in the Flaming Crown Nebula. I have the stars version and the annotated version on here. Acquisition details, location in the sky. A write-up, and then some of these close-in crops, especially the one in just oxygen where you could really see that wake structure, and a little look at that carbon star and just the location in the sky I was contending with here in this particular object. I have also updated my website, setiastro.com, with Sharpless 313, complete with the main image, the Oxygen 3 bow shock, and annotated versions. As a reminder, I also have my new PixInsight script link, so if anybody wants to see what scripts I have and new scripts in beta, they'll be posted there. I hope you liked the video. Please comment, like, and subscribe.